Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through in creating this habit tracker spreadsheet. And the first thing you can do is if you double click on this cell, you can select the month for which you want to track your habits. So let's say I want to track it for October and the habit tracker will automatically calculate the total number of days in that selected month. One thing which you can do is to restart your spreadsheet, you can select the whole spreadsheet and then you can press the space bar once. It'll select everything and then press the space bar again and it will deselect all the checkboxes. So now you're starting from scratch and this is where you will enter the habits. As you can see, if there is no habit in the row, the checkboxes are grayed out. That means you should not be checking them. And let's start adding some checkboxes here. And as you can see, when we add checkboxes for completion of habit, the the emoji changes. And if there is more than 75% completion, you get a little flower blooming next to that particular day. So on 1st of October 2025, we completed 80% of the habit and we get a flower bloom. And as we proceed through the month and we check more boxes, we see a graphical representation of how we are doing with our habits and we get some different emojis based on the completion percentage. So let's start with a brand new sheet and I'll show you how we create this spreadsheet. So we add a sheet here and the first thing I want to do is I want to add more columns to my spreadsheet than what is provided by default. So I have to add 13 more columns. And so I just I'll add one more if needed and then you just add it to the right. So now if you look all the way, I have up to AN. I don't need AN, so I'm going to delete it now. So now I have up to AM. Next thing I want to do is I want to select all these columns and I'm just going to drag them to the right. So that way I can see that all my columns from A to AM are all in the same visible to me. Next thing I want to do is going to just format the sizes of some of the columns and the rows for more aesthetics. So we're going to take column A, D, E, and the third column from the left, and I'm going to just make them thinner. And the first row, I'm going to, so the first row and the row 5, I'm going to make thinner too. And you'll know in a bit why. And then I'm going to expand column C a little bit. Now B, C, now these three columns, I'm going to just merge cell. And then from here all the way to AJ, I'm going to merge cell. Now here I'm going to write my title of the tracker, habit tracker. Now, before I proceed, I want to make sure that all the data is horizontally and vertically aligned properly. So I'm going to select the whole sheet and center align here and vertical align from here. Now this is much better. Now I'm going to make it bold and I'm going to make the size bigger. So this is my habit tracker and here is my date picker which has to go. And so that I can select whichever month I want to track my habits for. So in order to do that, I have to go to data validation and from here I'm going to add a rule and from the drop down I'm going to select is valid date and reject if the input is invalid and done. Now if I double click here, I'm going to get a calendar. Let's say I select the next month. Now I don't like the way the date is formatted, so in order to change that I'm going to go format and then from formatting number and I'm going to select the month and the year. This looks much better. I'm going to bold it and make it bigger. All right, so next, now that the step one is completed, I'm going to add some formulas in order to calculate the total number of days in this month, which has been selected, and also to add the days and the days of the week and the dates. So we're just going to go down a few rows below, and we're going to start adding the days here. But before that, I want to add something called the total number of days in this month. So in order to get the total number of days of the month, we're going to use a formula which is provided in Google Sheets called EOMONTH. And how it goes is you get EOMONTH, and then you get the date, comma, zero if you want the end of date for the current month, and then press enter. So now this shows that 30th of June is the last day of the month of June. Let's change this to another month. For July, 31st of July is the last day of this month. But I want to find out the total number of days in that month. In order to do that, I'm going to use a day formula. So just take the day, open parenthesis, and then at the end, close parenthesis. And this will give us the total number of days in the month which has been selected here. So if I select February of 2025, it automatically changes to 28. So this comes in handy later on, but let's go a few rows below here, and we're going to add we want to put the total, the starting from day one of this month till the end. So in order to calculate that, we're going to use the end of month formula. But in order to calculate the first day of the month, we have to go to the last day of the month and add one to it. So how that works is we're going to still use the EOMONTH formula. We're going to go to the month of February, comma, and the previous month is going to be, so you get -1. This is the last day of the month of January, which is 1/31/2025. But now we want to add +1 to it. And this is 1st of February 2025. But I don't like the way the date is shown here. I just want to see the particular day, so date. So I will go to Format and Number, and I'm just going to select from here 26. So this is perfect. Now it shows this, but the problem is that if I drag this formula, I'm going to get an error. So the first thing which I have to do is anchor the date. So in order to anchor the date, I'm going to add a $ at F and the $ at before 2. Now the date has been anchored. So if I drag it now to the right, everything is going to be 1, and I don't want to see that. I want to see that as I drag it, the days increase. So in order to do that, I'm going to use another formula called columns. So we're going to replace 1 with the formula called columns, and I'm going to anchor at the column F, and I'm going to say colon and then F. So F1 to F1, and you press enter. Now when I'm going to drag it, the dates are going to be correct. And since February has only 28 days, the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of March will be shown here, which is not a problem, and we can live with that. Next thing which I want to do is I want to show the day of the week right above this particular date. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the formula called text. So text, and then you select this, comma, and then quotes I have DDT because I just want to see the first 3 letters of that day, and press enter. So now I know that Saturday is the first day. 1st of February was a Saturday, and I'm going to drag it all the way to the down. And the other thing I want to do is I want to just show some week indication. So I'm going to merge the cells and call it week 1. And then this becomes week 2, week 3, and week 4. And then these are the extra days. So I'm going to merge them and just call them extra days. Okay, so now we have all these on top of this. So next thing which we want to do is we will be adding some headings. And here I'm going to add my heading. So this is the number where the number of habits is going to go, and I'm going to call it habits here. And here I'm going to see the percentage daily completion. So I'm going to just merge these two cells, and I'm going to call it percentage daily completion. Okay, so this is coming together, and here I'm going to merge these 3 cells, and I'm going to call them percentage. And now this cell AM, I'm going to make it wider because I want to show the bars here. So also on top, right above this, I'm going to show the emojis of the percentage daily completion. So if anything is done 100% or over 75%, we want to give a flower or something like that, just for the looks. And then here I'm going to add the vertical bars. So I'm going to just merge these cells, and then I'm going to just drag it all the way to the right. All right, so the next step would be to add our checkboxes, and this spreadsheet is almost coming together. So first thing I want to do is, let's say I want to add the heading, the serial number here. And so I want to add up to 10 habits, which we are tracking for this month. Perfect. And so now this is where the habits are going to be written. And I want to calculate the total number of habits if they are present. If we enter something here, then this is going to be um, updated. So in order to, right now there are no habits here, so I'm going to create a formula called using count if, and I'm going to use this range, comma, and it's only going to count if there is some value in there, otherwise it's not going to count. So right now it shows 0, which is what we expected. If we enter a habit here, it's updated to 1. If we enter another habit here, becomes 2. So it's increasing as we add habits. Next thing I want to do is I want to add some checkboxes. So it's very easy to add checkboxes in Google Sheets. So I select the area where I want the checkboxes, insert, and checkboxes. If we complete some habits, we're going to check these boxes, and this is where we're going to calculate the percentage completion. So in order to do the percentage calculation, I'm going to use the countif formula again, countif, and then I have to give a range. So I give this range, comma, and true. So if these are true, then if it's true, then you're going to divide it. Because I want the percentage, I'm going to divide it by the total number of habits. And before I proceed, I want to anchor this because this total number of habits exists in cell C26. I want to anchor this cell. And I get 0.6. Right now it's a decimal value, but I want to see a percentage. So in order to do that, I'm just going to click on percentage, and I don't. All right, and I don't want to see any decimals. So 60%. And I'm going to make it just small enough so that it's visible, and then I'm going to drag it all the way to the right. So as you can see, I enter this and the percentages are increasing. I want to add something similar on the right side. So if I have exercised for every day of the month, then this is going to be increased. In order to do that, I'm going to again use the counter formula and divide it by the total number of days of the month. So this is going to go something like that. If, sorry, count if, and then I'm going to select this whole range, and and let's select the whole range. And if we do it on the extra days, then it's going to be over 100%. True, and then divide it by the total number of days in the month. So that's yes, and then I'm going to anchor this again, press enter, and then the next thing which I want to do is I want to make it a percentage and get rid of all the decimals. And then I'm going to drag it here. So we got the percentages here, we got the percentages here, and the spreadsheet seems to be coming along. So next step, we're going to talk about how we're going to grade the checkboxes if there are no habits here. All right, so the next step would be to make sure that the checkboxes are grayed if there are no habits in this column C. So in order to do that, I'm going to just select all the checkboxes again, and this is the range, and then format, and I'm going to go on conditional formatting, and so apply to this range from this cell to this cell. And what is the rule? So I'm going to add a formula, a custom formula, and the formula is that if the cell is empty, then I'm going to make it gray. The fill color is going to be gray. So from F16 to this, if the cell C16 is, so it starts with C16, but it goes all the way down, and then you say done. And there you go. So even though you can check it, you're still like it's a visual representation that you should not be clicking on any of the checkboxes here. So we only go where there's white checkboxes and not on the gray checkboxes. And as soon as I enter another habit, habit 6, this row is available for checking. So this is how we add conditional formatting and gray out the checkboxes if there is no habit on the corresponding row. All right, now that we have entered our percentage complete for the daily basis and for the per habit basis, we can add some bar charts, vertical bar charts and horizontal bar charts for better visual representation. So we're going to use this percentage in order to calculate that. And the formula is, and I don't remember the formula very well, so let's get it from here. So it's called the Sparkline formula. So let's go here, and I'm going to put the formula in these 4 cells. So Control V, and the, this is where the percentage is coming from. So it's coming from F12. So I'm going to say F12 and press enter. And there you go. So it's 50% complete. And now I'm going to just drag it to the right. And as you can see, as we add more habits, more checkboxes, we see the bars going in the right direction. So this formula is Sparkline, and then you get the cell where your percentage is, and then this. And you can change the hex value of this if you want a different color. Okay, and now we can add the horizontals. Sparkline formula. So in order to do that, again, I'm going to go to my original sheet, grab this formula, Control C, paste it here, and it is AL16. Press enter. And then all I have to do is drag this formula down. All right, so the next step would be to add a fun emoji in this row. And depending on the completion rate, the emoji is going to change. So the formula for that is very simple, and I'm just going to add that formula in the description. But this is um, this is my formula from here, and I have to change the so the formula is you have to look for the cell F12. So I'm going to go here and change this to F12 and press enter. So if it's 100% complete, I get this, and then I drag it all the way to the right. So now that we have our emojis and the flowers blooming, if we accomplish a certain percentage, I want to show a graph on how these habits are being tracked. And so now we have to select two non-adjacent rows. And the first row which we have to select is the days of the month. So I'm going to select the first day, press shift, and then select the last day. And that's how I select the days of the month. Then I press control and I select this, then press shift again and select this. Now I have selected these two non-adjacent rows. The first is the days of the month and the second is the percentage completion. And then I'm going to insert and I'm going to create a chart. And it creates this chart which looks a little ugly, but we'll fix it. First is the chart type. The chart style is we want it smooth. And the other thing is I want to stretch it all the way so that it kind of coincides with the total number of days we have. This is day one, and this is how it goes. Now, I don't want to see this percentage here, so I can just hide it, but I cannot delete it. So, and I want my days to start from here, so I'm going to just drag the chart here so that the 2 is on top of 2 and 8 is on top of 8. And this is still it's looking much better. And as you can see, if you add more habits, the chart changes. So this is good. Now I'm just going to click on these three dots here and edit chart. And there are many things which we can edit this chart for, but let's go to customize and let's go to the vertical axis. And in the vertical axis, I don't want to see these percentages. So I'm going to change the text color to white. And that's how the percentage is going to go away. I still want to see the days in the horizontal axis. So let's keep that. And I'm going to, you can change this chart as much as you want, but the chart border, let's make it none. I don't want to see any chart border. So if you just get out of here, this is how your chart looks. You can definitely change it as much as you want, but I'm kind of happy with what I see. And so now we have come to the final step of formatting the spreadsheet. And in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all the headings and make them bold, first of all. So this is a heading which is bold. This is going to be bold. And now that we have all the headings which are bold, I'm going to select them and here, and this is also bold. And then I'm going to just give them a dark green color. So from the drop down, anytime now. Yep. And give a dark green color here. This is the dark green I want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the text color white so it pops out. And the other thing I want to do is I want to select all the formulas. So this is a formula. These two are formulas. This is a formula. And then these are formulas. And I'm going to give them a light green color. So all the formulas are shown in the light green color. This is a number of days, which is also a formula. So I'm going to give it a light green color. And the weeks, I can give them like progressing green color. So light from starting from the lightest I have, then a darker. And the last thing I want to do before I wrap up this video is to change the color of this line chart. So I want to make it green. In order to do that, I'm going to click on the chart and then click on these three dots and then edit chart. And then I'll go to customize, and in the series I can select the color of the line chart. So I want to make it green. So let's select a green color, and there you go. The chart is now green in color, and I can close this. So this is all working very well, and I'm happy with the result. So this is how I'm going to end my video. So in the end, thank you for watching this video with me. And if you found value in this content, consider subscribing to my channel Sheet Haven, because I'm planning to make more such videos in the future. And thank you for your help and support, and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye now.